Hello Internet and welcome to yet another video. My name is Amir and on this video we are talking about the new Sevendust album Blood and Stone. This is the 13th full-length album from the Atlanta rockers Sevendust, one of my favorite bands on this planet. This band is consistent. They comprise of, in my opinion, some of the best musicians in the genre, some of the best musicians in the musical landscape, to be quite honest with you. And they bring it for every single release. They do not phone it in, man. These guys are top-notch quality every single time. So, it is no surprise that the new album from Sevendust, Blood and Stone, is amazing. I know I'm not even going to bury the lead, man. The album is really, really good. Now, the Sevendust catalog is a diverse one. There are excellent albums in there like All I See Is War, the prior record that they put out, Black Out the Sun, but there are also so-so records like Kill the Flaw, at least in my opinion, and Cold Day Memory that they've put out in the last 10 or so years. So where was this record going to be? Where was Blood and Stone going to be? I am not going to sugarcoat this in any way, shape, or form. This is probably in my top 3 of greatest Sevendust records of all time. It's not as good as Animosity. I still think that Animosity has this record beat, but in my prior Sevendust ranking video, where I ranked every single album with the exception of Bonfires or Time Travelers and Bonfires, I put Alpha as my number 2, and I believe I put Black Out the Sun as my number 3. This knocks Alpha down. This is better than Alpha, for sure. And I'm pretty sure it's better than Black Out the Sun too. I thoroughly enjoy this record. It is a mix of everything that I like about Sevendust in one record. So prior records, like the reason why I didn't like Kill the Flop per se so much was because I felt like they were trying to be too heavy the entire record. And the record was produced and had way too heavy. It had clipping in it. It was just like heavy for the sake of being heavy. All I See Is War was a little bit more balanced, but was still kind of on the darker end. This record has a little bit of everything. There's hopeful Sevendust in there. There's melodic Sevendust in here. There's super heavy as hell Sevendust in here. First and foremost, let's just talk about how the hell's LaJon Witherspoon does not age at all in any way, shape, or form, man. This dude's voice it's ageless. It's timeless, man. His voice doesn't age. He keeps bringing it for every single record. It's almost like, it's almost disheartening as like a vocalist to listen to them and be like, well, I ain't never going to be as good as this guy. I mean, this dude can sing, man. And the guitar work, the bass work, the drum work, Morgan Rose, man, welcome back from your little health scare that you had. I'm glad to see that everything's okay and you're still kicking ass because Morgan brings it on this record as far as the drums go. Vocally, he's a little absent. He only screams on 3 of the songs, I believe. The rest of the songs, the remaining 9, he's just kind of chilling in the background. He's just doing his thing, playing drums. But let's talk about this record, shall we? Starting from Dying to Live all the way to The Day I Tried to Live. Funny enough that both songs have the word live in them. Dying to Live and The Day I Tried to Live. That's a fun coincidence. I found myself when I was listening to this record for the first time, and I was listening to it like in my office setting here, AirPods, just kind of trying to digest it. It came out like 9 o'clock p.m. I live on the West Coast. So I'm listening to it. Spotify, just trying to get a feel for the record. And as I went from Dying to Live to Love, and Love is a totally different song that I'm used to from Sevendust. It is fast paced, but when it got to that chorus, I was like, oh, this is neat. I see I like what they did with this. And then the second verse kind of kicks in and it just makes it even more badass. I'm like, no, this is fun, man. I like this song. I know it's a little different, but I like it. Blood from a Stone we had heard before, which I think is an absolutely amazing song. And then Feel Like Going On, I wasn't a fan at first. It's a little slow. It's got this little guitar lick that's going on that is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I didn't like the call and answer vocals that were going on in there. So at the from the word go, the first line that LaJon sings, the last words that he says are, so different or something like that. And then there's a response. I believe it's Clint who sings that line again, kind of like a call and response type thing. And I was like, I don't know about that, but it's grown on me. I heard it a few more times and it's grown on me. And Absolutely love the chorus of it. It's a little slower pace, but when we get to the bridge, oh my goodness, I love this bridge. It is epic, man. It feels like I'm listening to a soundtrack because it's just building. There might be strings in this song, I'm not quite sure, but it's just like building, and Morgan's just like pounding on the cymbals, just on the quarter beats, like dun 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 dun, and you hear like the guitars just kind of swelling, and then there's like a lead guitar kind of going on in there playing octaves and stuff. It is absolutely beautiful stuff. The song ended up being one of my favorites on that record. We get to songs like What You've Become and Kill Me. What You've Become is the first time that we hear Morgan on the record actually screaming, so it's not until song 5, but it is welcome, man. When I heard him finally screaming, I'm like, oh dude, there he is. Finally, man. To me, Sevendust is all of these elements. I know there's some people that aren't a fan of his screaming, but me personally, I think it's like the cherry on top of the overall Sevendust sound. Like, you can't have it. You can't have Sevendust without that sound, you know what I mean? With that high-pitched scream from Morgan Rose, man. It just makes everything so much better in my opinion. What You Become sounds like something from the Kill the Flaw sessions to me, but it also has a chorus that reminds me of Seasons. And this record in general sounds like Seasons to me, but a much better version of that record. Seasons to me was a little watered down. This is Sevendust aiming for a more commercial direction, but doing it, staying true to who they are and their songwriting abilities and I mean what they are as a band, and being true to their sound. Kill Me, I've heard, has gotten a lot of good reviews. I think the song is good. It's not my favorite by any means, but it has some great synth stuff that's going on, and I absolutely love the last 10 seconds of this song. It's funny to say that, but the last 10 seconds is my absolute favorite part of the song, because there's like this badass drum beat, electric drum beat, the guitar riff that's going on, and this like synth element happening, and I'm like, oh my god, please like continue, like more of this. I want like 8 more measures of it, 16 more measures of it with like some vocals on top, and it's just a like 4 measure or 8 measure tease, and then that's it. But the rest of the song is great. Amazing performance by Lejean. Nothing Left to See Here Anymore has, again, one of my favorite choruses on the album. There's a great 6/8 feel to this song. It's got a lot of groove to it. I love the chord progression in the chorus specifically, and I like what the vocalists are doing, both Lejean and Clint, and it sounds like John is singing on this as well. I can kind of hear his voice in there. And then Desperation is a typical Sevendust song. This is the first song on this record that sounds like what we've been hearing from Sevendust for the last 25 records. Just that Sevendust groove, badassery, punch you in the face, guitar driven, Lejean just being amped up to, you know, level 10 and beyond, and just killing it. Morgan screams on this song as well. And then the bridge has my favorite guitar riff of the entire record. When I heard the bridge for the first time, smile from ear to ear, man. I was just like, yes, dude. This is what I want to hear from this band. It's so good. If you haven't heard it, check out Desperation, and specifically check out the bridge. That bridge is top notch. Criminal definitely sounds like a single to me. It reminded me a lot of Unraveling from Cold Day Memory. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the next single from the record. It seems very radio friendly. The last 3 songs before The Day I Tried to Live are all songs that kind of bleed into one another for me, and they're not as distinctive as the rest of the record. Against the World is another typical Sevendust type song, another typical Sevendust type beat. It's a lot of fun, and the bridge is badass. Alone is a slower power ballad. It's still really heavy, but it has this lyric in here that's probably one of my favorite lyrics of the record that says, "My life has a meaning, I wish you could see it." And they sing that line a few times in there, and that really caught my attention. That's a really beautiful line. And the delivery of it, of course, I mean, when you've got one of the best vocalists in rock, if not music, singing those words, it just brings that much more meaning to what he's saying. And Wish You Well has a really heavy groove. It's an excellent final original song on this album from the band. Excellent closing moments of the song too, man. Again, the songwriting on this album, like I said, are Sevendust at their best. There's a few songs on this record, no joke, where the first verse and chorus are fun, and they get my attention, and I'm rocking out to it, whatever. And then going from the chorus into the second verse, they approach the second verse different than they did the first time for the first verse. They're not repeating the verse again and just like doing the same thing and then the same drum beat and the same guitar riff. They change it up. They change the guitar riff. They change what notes are accented. They change the whole groove of it. They change something specific about it. And it's a few songs that they do this where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you got my attention for sure now. Like I was listening before and I was into it and I was rocking out, but like this is amazing. And they do this throughout the record where it's like the bridge, like in Desperation, like I was talking about, like the bridge is like, how is this not a main riff? How is this just a riff for the bridge? The rhythm section of the band is kind of doing something unique for like a measure or a half measure or like a you know, something for a couple of beats, or it's like there's some 16th notes here, some 32nd notes here. Like I love this band because they could make it easy. They could just phone it in and play, you know, the same chord progression and the same chorus. They make every single song unique, especially on this record. Blood and Stone, in the 25 plus year history of Sevendust, this is a record that easily could have been phoned in. It easily could have been, you know, just, hey, we need to put out some new music because we need to tour once, you know, COVID is a thing in the past, cross our fingers. But they didn't do that. They delivered a record that has 12 amazing original songs. I mean, no joke, I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. To me, this is the best collection of original songs that they have put out since Animosity. Every record that they've put out in one way, shape, or another has a collection of songs here and there. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3 here and there that I don't get into for whatever reason. But this album, Blood and Stone, front to back, is excellent. And The Day I Tried to Live is an amazing... I mean, how can you do a Soundgarden cover and try to do justice to Chris Cornell? You can only do that when one of the best vocalists of rock, LaJauwn Witherspoon, is your vocalist. This record, Blood and Stone, to me is quintessential Sevendust at their best. And that is my review for Sevendust's Blood and Stone. What do you think of the record? Let me know in the comment section down below. Where does this rank for you in the Sevendust discography? Let me know in the comment section below as well. If you like this video and you want to see more, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video if you did. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Until next time, my name is Amir. Take care.